Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I've got my co-host,
John Ward.
John Ward is here again, and we got a guest here. I think like we occasionally have guests on like one of the last episodes of these kind of shows or whatever, but please welcome.
OGP. Am I popping up? Can you
Yeah,
see
you're
me?
popping up. You're
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Hello,
Popping off.
everybody. Oh.
Popping popping off your collar. Um, but we're here to talk about Saw X. Which, as many of you guys know, if you've been watching, yes, I've got that. I've got the what is it? I got the 4K version.
I know Philip has brought some stuff with him, so we can take a look at that too. So I think I have the weakest of them all. It's just Blu-ray. It's Blu-ray and DVD.
You got the Blu-ray and
Oh.
DVD. I don't have a DVD. I just got the 4K and Blu-ray. You know.
Yeah, it's got a DVD.
Oh wow, look at you. You got the really cool Steelbook.
Yeah. I don't mean to brag, but
Hmm.
yeah, the steel book with the slip cover. I do like that. It's pretty cool artwork. And inside the 4K is still in the player because I just
Hmm.
watched it last night, and apparently I'm giving away my digital copy right now. If anybody's paying too
Well,
close
are
attention,
you gonna be using that digital copy or
probably not.
so somebody
So I
might.
don't care. But yeah, have at it if you got it. But I do like it. Came with the Blu-ray, came with the 4K, and I watched a few of the deleted scenes and stuff that probably are on your copies as well.
Hmm.
But it was a lot of fun and looked great in 4K. The picture
Mm-hmm.
was amazing. So yeah, this
On
is I love
YouTube, I watched 30 minutes worth of deleted scenes and extended scenes.
Well, you don't have it
th-
on your Blu-ray?
I was at work.
Okay. Makes sense.
don't tell nobody.
Yeah, we don't want to get you in trouble, John,
Yeah.
because you be getting yourself in trouble. So, that's your fault. Anyway,
But Philip
so
has other stuff, don't you?
Well, I do. I could show other stuff.
yeah,
I,
sure.
I'm kind of curious, being my first time here. Forgive me for a moment, but I see the camera switches between you two. Does it just switch between us when we're talking, or is there like a master screen with all three of us?
Oh, it's gonna
Or
be all three of us. Yeah, it doesn't switch from one person talking.
okay, okay. So I just wanted to. I didn't want to like start talking or show something if you couldn't see me. So I just wanted to make sure. So okay, I just thought, yeah, since we're talking Saw X and I haven't been on any of your Saw conversations yet, that I would bring on a few things like this that I just got signed from Tobin Bell,
Nice.
signed, and so he just wrote Tobin Bell and Jigsaw down there, and met him in person at the Creepy Con, and he is a phenomenal person, a very gracious man, a very nice man. And I joked with him. I said, "Hey, when are you going to make a bad Saw movie?" And he laughed and he goes, "Thank you. That means a lot." And people can debate whether some movies are better than others or whatever, but to me, I enjoy them all, even Spiral, and I know that gets a lot of hate. So, but
That was the last
so
one we did, obviously, because we're
okay.
doing it in order, and
Jonathan is not a big fan of
I
Saw.
am not. I'm just
Uh,
well.
I
I
love Saw.
look. I'm not a I'm not a torture guy. I don't like torture. Not that I don't think it's
You
whatever. It's
watch the
just
Hallmark Channel. What are you talking about?
that's not torture to me. That's not torture. That's pure fun. You know that and Lifetime. I mean, working on the Lifetime movies were even better. But
well, so I'll just quickly show this. So this is my Saw collection right here,
nice.
that I got the box set through. Oh man, I am forgetting the name of the company right now. Via Vision. So this was it was like $250 US dollars to buy it. But somebody got screeners and I got a free copy of it. But
Oh.
so it's cool because the top comes off, and then you've got the trap, which I still have like pretty well mounted in there. Because when they first sent out the traps, they didn't have them packaged properly, so they bounced around and they all broke. So I have two because this one broke and I super glued it together. And you can see if you look at it closely where the damage was. But so I display the broke one because you can't really tell, and I keep this one all locked up, nice and neat.
Nice.
But then and I won't be too long with this stuff, but so here's a card of all the movies that are included in this set, so that's kind of nice. And then you've got the book, and a couple of them, they're not all in 4K, but some are 4K, some are just Blu-ray. But you've got everything here, including Jigsaw and Spiral. So it's all there, everything aside from Saw X. So that's why I had to go get Saw X, the steel book that I've got. But so that, and then I'll show you how much of a fan I am. I've got Shawnee Smith's autograph on this Saw poster right here. You can see down there, big letters. She
Nice.
writes Shawnee Smith and then Amanda below it.
Hmm.
And it's which is very relevant for this movie, the conversation, and then the original Saw poster, which I
Nice.
wanted to at Creep IE because Shawnee was there, maybe get her to sign up here or something. But I've spent so much on autographs, I kind of had to ease off. But Tobin Bell signed this and says, "I want to play a game, Tobin Bell
Nice.
Jigsaw." So I actually have two Tobin Bell autographs, one on the Funko and one on that. So that's that is the Saw collection. I just thought I would quickly share that with you all,
I,
since
look, you're a huge fan.
I am.
That's awesome, and I know John's a huge fan. John, did you have any things like that yourself?
No, I just have the Blu-rays. That's it. I don't really have anything to Saw.
Oh,
John
I'm
Ward
surprised
has
you
to
don't have
suck it.
like a pop or anything.
I'll get one eventually, but right now I'm just doing the hate buys for Funko Pops. So when I
Uh,
find one,
that's right. You got like the director
yeah,
from was it from don't you have the Wonder Woman director or something as a pop or
yes, and I'm sitting back here. That's the Terrifier one that's signed, and then I have my Tom Cruise Mummy, and then there's She-Hulk, in all of its glory, 60% off, all
I mean, I
stickers
don't think you would
included.
buy it on like full price, right?
Hell no, no, they have to have the stickers. It
Okay.
has to be that type of sale. It can't be. So I've passed on like Captain Marvel, Ray, and a couple of those that would be hate buys, but they're regular price, like
Right.
11.99.
I
Oh, look
should
at that.
mention this too. The popcorn bucket here from this is actually from Saw X.
You can get into his
So
brain.
yeah, eat his
That so
brain.
that
Oh,
should have been Jigsaw's since they drilled into his head and stuff
and
and
lights come on, eyeballs light up and everything. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, right. Yeah, because drilling into the head.
Yeah. I mean it's still cool, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at a Midsummer Scream, I got to sit with the screen used Billy there, I believe, and take a picture with Billy. And then this it was cool. They gave us this for free in the
Nice.
Saw setup when they were getting right before they released Saw X. So that was very exciting. So I do. I love Saw. I love the whole franchise. I think it's phenomenal the way you had the first one, and then with like part 2 and 3, where they kind of intertwined and overlapped the storylines and stuff. I thought the writing was genius, in addition to being very gory and brutal and all the things that are very tough to watch for casual horror fans. I thought they were very creative with the script and the story, and that's what really pulled me into the franchise.
Well, and that's interesting. And were you like since the first Saw, did you get hooked?
So, well, I the funny story about that is I wasn't watching too many movies right around the turn of the century. I was just busy with life, and I don't remember where they were in the franchise before I actually ever watched my first Saw movie. I think we were on like the sixth movie before I ever watched one of them. And Fluffy Gamer was telling me, man, the Saw movies are great. They're great. And so I watched the first one and I was like, wow, okay, let's put on part two. What? Okay, what's going on here? And then part three. And when I was really truly hooked and became a major fan was after watching part three. but yeah, I didn't watch them when they first came out. I wasn't watching much of anything. Like, for example, I just a few days ago watched The Matrix for the first time.
Wow.
So
I
and
think I've
that,
only watched the first Matrix. I haven't
It's an
watched the,
allegory for being
you know.
trans.
yeah, no.
It's not. It really isn't, but that's what they say these days.
Yeah, yeah, certain people want you to believe that. I don't.
Well, the
But
creators, he's saying the directors say that, now.
yeah, I
I
am so thankful that the next
Sorry, it's not.
Matrix
Sorry,
movie,
Lana, it's not. Sorry.
yeah,
well,
sorry, the next Matrix movie is going to have nothing to do with the brothers.
and that's another thing I really liked about the Saw series, period. Now like having seen all 10 of them, that, and everything. I liked that uh the politicalness that's in it is very safe politicalness. It's not okay. We gotta do this because people are going against the LGBTQ community. This is going against insurance companies and things like that when they get political, and that is something everybody can relate to. Whatever anybody can relate to, that the fact that they fucking hate big pharma. Both
Yeah,
sides hate it.
yep,
So and get screwed. So it's a fair thing, but they don't try to like okay, we got to go woke on this or anything like that. They just literally try to make a movie that scares the shit out of you if it can, or whatever.
yeah,
Interestingly enough, none of them have ever terrified me, but I think that's just because I've watched so many horror films anyway. It's really hard for any movie to terrify me, so
Unless it's Terrifier.
the air fryer doesn't even terrify me. No.
I'm not sure if you can be terrified by Saw. I think it's just more of a gross out.
Right. I think that's
yes,
what it is. It's well, they still call it like torture porn. It's not torture porn because there's not
I
it,
hate
it
that term.
yeah, I know you hate
yeah,
that term. We've discussed this on this. It's not torture porn. Torture porn is hostile. Hostile is for
There,
sure.
there is no torture porn. I hate that term. It doesn't exist. It's a stupid term done by one critic, and it caught on.
The
mm,
same thing as that I got so mad when that first Scream 5 or whatever, but it was Scream 19 or 2000 and
oh yeah,
whatever 22 or whatever. They said that the was it Jenna Ortega was like, "Oh, I like elevated horror." And I was like, what the fuck is elevated horror? So I looked it
yeah,
up and it was from YouTube. It was YouTubers, these little girl YouTubers who coined the phrase elevated horror in order to make something sound more cool and whatever than it is. And really it's it's a lot of it's pretentious horror. That's what I would call it, not elevated horror, pretentious horror.
yeah. Well, society nowadays, it's like if we just seem to make things up and have a lot of different things, like subgenres in life. We love subgenres in all facets of life. But for people now to, I think you're right. It is very pretentious. It's like, I am too good to watch that horror. I will watch this horror or whatever, and like Oz Perkins is a good one to say. Oh, horror. And Oz Perkins has some good movies. I'm not trying to knock him, but they're more thinking movies. You have to pay close attention to the little things, what's going on. Whereas Saw, you could turn your head away for a couple minutes, come back, and as a guy's drilling into his own brain, you will still be grossed out. So the need to subcategorize or create these little subgenres and stuff. You're a horror fan or you're not, and I don't care if somebody is or isn't. If you enjoy a horror movie, great. I love horror movies. I'm not mad at anybody who doesn't, but the need to this, making things about ourselves or self-recognition that everybody so desires. Like,
Mm.
I'm so good because I watch elevated horror. Like, no, you're a twat. But to me, just watch it, enjoy it, have fun. Talk about it, critique it all you want, but don't make it about you. Like I am a Saw fan. I met Tobin Bell. That's great. I have no impact on the franchise at all. I can just talk about whether I like it or not. I would never sit here and try and talk about, insert myself into the conversation,
Hmm.
kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that certain phrases, certain things that people are saying, like elevated horror or what was the other one you said? There's certain or
Torture
torture
porn.
porn. Yeah, torture porn. Things like that. They're just phrases one person creates and all of a sudden, oh, that makes sense. That's what this is, and everything like that. And then it just, and whatever. So it's not gonna go away. Like you're never gonna hear somebody not say torture porn at some point in life, or whatever, describing like movies that have torture in them. It just is what it is, but it's sadly now part of our lexicon, just like
I just noticed we all got the memo and wore the correct color shirt today.
we're all wearing like a grayish kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry to throw a wrench into the conversation there, but
No, it's
I just
funny. I
noticed
didn't
that was
even I
funny.
didn't realize it either. But his is like what, green? Isn't yours green? Or is it gray, John?
Huh?
Isn't your shirt green? Or is it
No, it's
gray?
gray.
It's
It's
gray.
gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason I kept always thinking it was I am colorblind or something. I don't know.
Mm.
But I always thought it
You're
was green.
something, that's for
I'm
sure.
definitely something. All right, we're gonna get into Assault X, the movie that we're supposed to be talking about here.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, how about them apples?
So this was actually my as I think John said this is his second favorite in the franchise. This is my second in the franchise, but number one is my favorite in the franchise, So this is my only, my first one, and it's the first of the whatever sequels. I like this better than any of the other sequels,
Wow,
but
okay.
just because I like the fact that it delves more into the lore and the backstory of Jigsaw, because I've been getting like as after Spiral, I was like, I need something better, I need, and I know you said you liked it, and John liked Spiral, but I was like, nope, wasn't into it. Um, nice try though, Chris Rock, you know.
Hey, as far as Spiral goes, this is the one thing that I tell, and the first thing that I think anybody needs to consider, um, is that it's not, when you watch Spiral, you're not expecting to see John Kramer, you're not expecting to see Billy. It's from the Book of Saw. It's like a periphery copycat killer, and so there's like similar things going on, and it's a police detective movie with Chris Rock and Samuel motherfucking Jackson. So that to me alone, I thought, man, this is a lot of fun. I enjoy what they did with it. Is it as good as the first one or as Saw X? No, but I don't hate it. I just appreciate it for what it is. I had very low expectations, so I think that plays a
I,
factor
I I
into it
think
for me.
that's the problem. I had high expectations because I like Chris
Uh,
Rock, and I was
Keep his
hoping.
name out of your mother effing mouth.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Will Smith.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he had gotten slapped, I would have been happy in the movie. If somebody is, if the killer had slapped him, I would have been like, this is okay, But no, but unfortunately, that did not happen because I don't know. I guess, but it happened after this movie got made. I think,
Yeah.
Uh,
It did.
it
Yeah.
did. Okay, so there you
Yeah.
go. But no, I absolutely love this movie because I did love the stuff with Kramer. I do like the fact that it takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. It's a good sort of bridge, of no idea where they can go after this with Saw, if they're gonna go with another between, thing, or if they're gonna,
I would love that between 3 and 4. I think would be awesome.
yeah, that would be awesome.
because they never, you could still watch one and two
Mm,
and not even include this one, or you can watch one, 10, and two.
mm,
Because it's never brought up. The in the that 30 minutes of deleted and extended stuff, the guy did add in the scene from part six, which is my
right.
favorite one. And it's when Kramer goes to the main guy and says, there's this doctor in New Zealand that's it's like a combination of surgery and like fluids. And
Yeah.
so he put that in. He kind of inserted it in, and so that was so. I guess that's what in part six, John Kramer's talking about. But the thing when I was watching Saw X again is wouldn't he doesn't go by an alias. The cops, the press call him Jigsaw, but he doesn't go by like Stanley Smith. He's always John Kramer. Wouldn't everybody know he's Jigsaw? Because the woman knew.
Yeah.
But
Like she had the
wouldn't
Yeah.
whole plan against
everybody?
them.
He walks into a drugstore to pick up some medication. Yeah, it's under John Kramer. Oh my God, you're Jigsaw.
He's getting his cancer stuff done. Oh, John Kramer. He says it in the what is it? In the group, right? He's like, I'm
Yeah.
John Kramer. So like wait,
But
are they
between
thinking like is there another John Kramer out there or
but
you know?
between Saw 1 and Saw 2, did, did they identify? I'd have to go back and look. Is it public knowledge that John Kramer was Jigsaw after Saw 1?
They had
Yes.
there had to be because the lady actually says in the movie I knew it was you, like she said she planned this to get back at John.
Oh, no, no, for in Saw X here, she recognizes, she goes, she said, I think she says she figured out that it was John Kramer, that he was Jigsaw.
Right, but I think
But I,
like
I
then
think she figured it out because of, well, no, I guess because she figured it out before he did the traps and stuff.
yeah, because what is it? Because that one dude set him up. That was part of the special, thank you, John, for letting me know that there was a mid-credit sequence, but there was that mid-credit sequence where they trap the guy that set him up, and he has no thing on his stomach anymore because it was all a lie. It was all a ruse to get him to go look that girl up and find all this information out and stuff. Interestingly enough, I wonder who, if she's getting back at somebody else who has cancer, too. Like if she's trying to fuck with some other person that she knows, somehow or whatever. Because at the end, she has that, or before she gets kidnapped, she has that conversation with somebody saying, "Oh, the same conversation she had with John, and everything."
Well, no,
Well,
at during that conversation, it's alluding to the fact that she is on the phone with another victim, with the potential victim. She throws away John Kramer's picture,
right.
opening up the spot for the new victim.
Hmm.
So that conversation, yeah, was with whoever would have been the next victim.
They cut out with the deleted stuff. There is more information on Amanda. We find out that she's actually like a computer tech and a hacker. And
Hmm.
that's how they found out about all the people that they scammed and how they got, when John holds up the piece of paper that has all the transactions on it. So we find out that Amanda is actually a hacker and she knows computers really well. The woman who kind of does this whole thing, the main woman, um, we find out that even though she kept praising her dad, she hates him and she was a major disappointment in his life. Some
Yeah.
of this stuff I wish that they left in, because there's a
Oh,
massively long scene. It's extended of when they're all chained up, and like
yeah.
Hmm.
Amanda comes in, and then later John comes in, and that is very long, and you get a lot of dialogue in that, and there's a lot of exposition that I kind of wish they left all that in, even though it is long. But
Yeah.
The
it's
movie
you
was
you
2 hours
learn.
long, basically, so I think
Oh
that
yeah,
a
this
lot
would
of
have
it.
been it would have been
Two and a
over.
half
That's
hours.
Yeah, out of all the deleted stuff, that was the only thing that I wish that they would have left in because it does give us more information. The other stuff was just little things here and there that I don't think was important. Like we do find out when she's talking to John on the phone about getting him down there, that the guy at the end that's actually with her, who we thought was a patient, he is in the background.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah.
see him like at a computer. So he's hearing everything that's going on. So it's yeah, a lot of that stuff just cut. I mean, it didn't really wasn't really necessary, but that one scene, we actually got information out of that. So
Well, I really liked the John Wayne Gacy comment, which is funny because I have a poster of a guy who looks just like John Wayne Gacy over here that's signed that somebody just gave me recently.
You got
oh
signed
Oh
with
man.
John Wayne Gacy? His autograph?
Well, is John Ward Gacy.
well,
uh
you could say Clown Motel Massacre is a little John Wayne Gacy, and then I
Oh,
was
yeah.
in a movie by Tom Devlin called Gacy. It's like there's my name right there. Yeah,
yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
yeah, with John
John
Kress.
John Ward Gacy.
Yeah, I play his therapist.
But anyways, with that comment in the movie, so in that comment in the deleted scenes that she makes the comment that the what's her name, the doctor, the
Yeah, what was her
the,
name?
the blondie, uh
Sure.
which she talks about how he's almost or compares him to John Wayne Gacy kind of thing. But just in that same deleted scene before that, you have Amanda talking about how her dad
Oh,
was she was
Cecilia.
Cecilia. Yeah, I'm
Cecilia.
having a hard time
Hmm.
pronouncing it.
But
Yeah.
the way Amanda was describing her dad was almost like she was describing John Wayne Gacy, like
Hmm.
children and stuff. So
Yeah, she says that he's a child molester and that he was yeah, like an alcoholic, like a violent alcoholic. And I kind of got the
yeah.
impression that he molested her too. A lot of stuff, a lot of info that I don't maybe they just cut it because they
I'll
didn't
have
want to
to check it out.
reveal too much
I
or
didn't know we were doing that, so I didn't check out
Yeah.
the deleted scenes.
No, my bad. My thing for checking out the deleted scenes was, well, one, I was just interested after watching the movie again. But so during the movie, and this we're jumping way ahead in the storyline here, but during the movie, John Kramer tells them if they don't want to play the game, they're going to be trapped here forever, which alludes to the end when so you have Cecilia and the guy up in the room, the gas comes out and Cecilia kills the guy. She sticks her head out to breathe, so she survives. And then Amanda and John and the kid all leave.
Carlos,
And
I think.
was it Carlos?
I think
It would
it's
be. I don't think it was Carlos. Carlos
I
is the
thought
kid from the.
no, Carlos, step right here,
Is
Carlos.
it? Oh, how funny! How funny! So, um, but as they're leaving, it's almost implied that she is now trapped in this room forever. But you hear a click, and so I brought this up. Is you hear she wins the game, she survived, so you hear the click of the door opening. In the deleted scenes you see the door open. They don't show that in the movie, and a lot of people, when the movie first came out and I reviewed it, everybody was saying no, she's locked in that room, she stays or she dies. And I'm like, but she won the game, so she played the game, so technically she shouldn't have been. And
Right.
so
Especially
the
if you
question.
follow Jigsaw's rules, like you follow his rules,
Correct.
as opposed to like Hoffman's rules, which we've discussed before. Hoffman doesn't give a fuck, if you
Yeah.
live or die in the game. But Jigsaw has always lived his life by saying, if you play the game and you win, you're free, and
Yes.
everything. So
So
continue.
so without the deleted scene, you're left wondering, does she get out? Or, if you know the rules, you kind of figure it out. But I threw the question out there that, well, if she survives this, do we get more Cecilia in part 11? Or is she just gone out of the picture now?
I
Does
kind of
she
hope
come
she's
back
out of
for
the picture
vengeance?
I hope she's out of the picture because I just see that becoming like, unless they did like a trilogy, as being something sort of annoying with me. I don't like
I don't think she's
Jigsaw.
in it.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't like Jigsaw having like a arch nemesis thing. Like I think for one
Yeah.
movie is fine, but having like a continuing one is just gonna be um just kind of boring, you
Well,
know? Like,
But you know, but they could because they're doing I Am Legend 2 with Will Smith. Even though he dies in I Am Legend, they're going off of the alternate ending that you get in the bonus features. So it's so maybe they're going to re-release I Am Legend with that ending where he survives. So if they do Saw 11, maybe they could show the you see the door opening, all the gas stops and goes down, and then we have that at the very beginning or something. So they could do it. I mean, The Descent did it. The Descent has two endings, and The Descent 2 followed the the American ending, not the British ending.
mm,
So I hope that they don't, but
I would be up for seeing like the way Smile 2 began with the one survivor from Smile, just getting obliterated at the beginning of Smile 2. Maybe you start off the movie with her and she gets killed really quickly. Maybe Hoffman goes like, you know what, unfinished business, and he just goes and kills her or something. I'd be okay with any of that. I don't want her in Saw 11, but to me the question was there because it is a loose end, and
hmm
now he's dying, so you would think, well, he doesn't care about loose ends, but if he is preparing, excuse me, Amanda and Hoffman to take over the business, as he refers to it in there, in Saw X, he refers to it as their business. If he's wanting Hoffman and Amanda to take over, you would think he would care about loose ends. So I
but
just
she
I
survives. Just like the guy at the beginning who he tortured and he survived. They took him to the
yeah.
hospital.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just thought that was interesting because in seeing in the deleted scenes that the door does open. I wish they would have left that in the movie. I really do.
Yeah. And I like that he, once again, I like that uh he's fair, right, with his games, and he does that on purpose because he's trying to teach them a lesson. He like in this movie, I like that he sort of told the told the lady Cecilia, he basically, as she thinks he's a life coach or whatever. She knows who he is, right? But
Yeah.
she's like, she's like a life coach, and he's like something like that,
Yes.
which kind of, I love that because he is sort of this guy who's trying to sort of help people go a different direction. You could either die because you don't do his game and you don't do whatever however he wants you to go, or you could survive if you do it, if you survive the game, if you play it all the way through and do it. I just, honestly, I just don't think 3 minutes is enough a time period for a lot of these things. And I wonder how he comes up with the number, like, 3 minutes to the first girl's thing. She only has 3 minutes and
uh,
she dies, with the head getting cut off or whatever. Like, how do you decide? Do you have to practice it and say, okay, somebody can survive this in 3 minutes, or
So
what?
that's my issue with all of these. We've talked about this. This is kind of like the remake of I Spit on Your Grave, where they think she's dead and then she comes back not long later, and all of these saw traps are made. And it's just like, okay, if this was a year later, that would make more sense. And that's the thing with Saw with all of these that's always bothered me
Mhm.
is
How
I
quickly?
yeah, I know that he has Amanda. I know that he has Hoffman, and with Jigsaw, we saw that he had a like his first, like companion or whatever you want to call him, partner or protege. But it's not like there's an army of people doing
yeah.
this.
John, and I agree in a sense with your thought there, but I think what Jonathan's point was how does he determine that 3 minutes is enough time for them to play the game with
And but
each
that
trap?
that goes along with what I'm saying is he needs all this time to figure that stuff out. Like he would have to
Oh,
sit
I
in
see.
the
Okay,
chair and be like,
yeah,
okay, here's the timer. Oh, okay, 3 minutes should be good enough, but it's like somebody, yeah, he has to kind of figure this out, like with a
but
stopwatch or something.
in the movie here now, Cecilia tells him like he's the smartest guy or whatever. She can't believe that she, you know, basically beat him because of how smart he is. They do talk about how he is a civil engineer and something else. But so
Architect.
I
Architect,
okay.
which
So
that made me happy when he said that because I was like, that sort of makes sense now. Because I was like,
yeah,
what was his job? I don't know if like he said it before in another movie that he was an architect or somebody mentioned that, but like when he said that, I go, oh, that's how he creates all these things. Okay, he
That
knows
I
how to
think
do
it
it.
is brought up in another film. I think
Yeah, it's
that
just
it,
been
yeah,
it's
a
brought
long
up a
time since
couple
I watched
times.
all of them, so
yeah.
Yeah, because like
But
even
just
in the deleted scenes, he shows the patient who ends up being a bad guy. He does turn and he's got the drawings of the trap at the very end that he and Carlos goes into. So
that's a really cool trap.
it's already been drawn out. I give Carlos a lot of credit. That kid did not cry or run away or anything. John's like, don't touch the lever because he wants to take all that blood hitting him. And Carlos is there, this little kid who's like, what, 10 years old, is pulling that lever and letting the blood come down on him. And then when John sees it, he holds his lever so Carlos can't move it. And he's still moving, he still wants to do it. I give this kid a bunch of credit. I mean, he's
Hmm.
not like this typical dumb movie kid, and he
yeah,
deserved all that money that John gave him at the end.
I
You
thought that
know,
was so sweet.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. That
well,
was
it's
it
blood
was a
money,
cool move.
literally blood money.
Yeah.
I,
But
I
if
I
that's the
wanted to
case,
see
he
the
earned it.
I wanted to see a scene where he goes home after, like all bloody, and his parents like, what the fuck happened? And then
Ay,
he goes,
caramba!
and then he looks over and goes, but look, I got
Yeah.
money.
like like when in Goonies when Data pulls the jewels out of his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, but his parents were like, "Oh," so I would have loved to see that scene, but unfortunately, I don't know if that was cut. I'm sure it wasn't.
No, there was nothing like that.
No,
But
that would be
but
great.
going back to John Carpenter, John
Thank
Kramer
you. Thank you.
making these traps and stuff. So we are fans of movies. People can go, hey, um, that one movie where the guy is he's bitten and he turns into a werewolf and he's running naked around a zoo, and we can go, oh, American Werewolf in London, because we know this stuff. So civil engineers, architects, they're like, either anybody who's very good at their profession, things come natural, come easy to
Mm.
him. Money people, number people, whatever. So I feel like it may not take him that long to develop these things because, but also maybe he was sitting there, he was so mad, and he's developed a lot of traps. He's already drawn them all out and can just kind of thumb through and go, oh, which one am I going to use here? I'll use this one. So, but
I mean, I kind of agree with
But
John just because I think it is tough, especially if you're in a place that you've never been before, and everything. And then you've got maybe one or two other, I don't know where Hoffman necessarily is in the beginning. If he was there, if he came down, I don't even know where he got, how he got
no,
Amanda so fast, to come down to the,
we'll see. And I think one thing they should have done better with this movie is shown the lapse in time, because obviously he picks up the phone, and I loved how subtle it was when John Kramer picks up the phone and goes, detective, I need your help, we have some people in need of our services, or however he phrased it. And so you're like, detective, that's John,
I
he's
did
talking to
that in the
Hoffman.
theater. I was like, Hoffman! I was so happy.
Well, did
So
everybody like look at you and go, shh?
yeah, probably a lot of people in the theater, if they were diehard Saw fans, probably did the same thing.
Yeah.
So so the fact that he reaches out to Hoffman, and then it's like, okay, and now, yeah, we have Amanda show up and we have Hoffman's help enlisted. Obviously, time went by for them to figure out where these people are, figure out how to kidnap them kidnapped, get them over to this place, and have these traps ready. My guess is that was at least a couple weeks. You
Yeah, but
give them, you
then I just
In
don't get Cecilia because she's like literally, it feels like it's the next day with her because like she's just sitting on
you,
that same money. You would think like she would just go on to the next person like that same day or whatever, or take John's thing down that, earlier or something, or whatever.
agreed that a definite flaw in the writing right there, where they should have emphasized a time lapse. And you're right about Cecilia. It seemed like it was like the next day
well,
that
in
she
the
was.
deleted scenes, there is a time lapse. Like
Okay.
John's drawing on the park and everybody's moving really fast. And then you see him walking and everybody's moving really fast behind him.
Maybe I didn't watch that one because I didn't see all of them.
So yeah, so
That would have been important then. I wish they would have left that in
yeah,
there.
because you think about it. So he gets on the phone, John gets on the phone, he talks to Amanda or Hoffman. He's like, okay, I need a crate with the cloaks. I need also for you to ship us the pig heads. What else do I need? And it's just like
Oh,
this
wow.
would take a long time to throw this stuff into a crate, maybe get it to a plane or a boat. And and how do you, I mean, people get suspicious when people like do bombs. They walk into Home Depot and you look what's in their cart and you're
But
like, oh
that's
shit, there's
why
fertilizer and all that. So how is John going around to these places and going, I need that chain, I need that saw, I need that. Okay, great. And then like
because
how is he getting it?
he's a civil engineer and he's an architect. You can, if you have a business license or permits and stuff to be, an architect or building things, or an engineer, people aren't going to question you. And plus, having a detective, maybe he's sending Amanda to buy some of the stuff, maybe Hoffman's buying some of this stuff. So I mean,
But Hoffman's in
there's,
another country. Hoffman's in the
oh no,
US.
but in Mexico, think about Mexico. They're not going to question what you buy at Home Depot in Mexico. You know,
Probably not, yeah.
it's a different land. I've been down it. I've been all over Mexico. They're not going to question what you're buying. So the freedom there. But even per se, in the earlier movies, how was he getting all this stuff? I think being a civil engineer or an architect, he has access to things that may be questioned if you or I walked in to buy them. You may
Right.
not question somebody with that
I
business.
Maybe.
I have always thought, and I kind of wish that they did it with this one, is that John should use what's around him. And so you use like part one makes sense. It's in the abandoned bathroom, and they give him a saw. Okay, that's fine. In part two, they have the house, which they could set up. And you see in one of the other Saw movies, you see Hoffman setting up the gun with John and stuff like that. So that could take a couple weeks, and then they put everybody in the house. So that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then part three is when he's dying, and he has that guy the husband going through all the traps trying to find the kid. That's now getting more and more detailed. And it's just like, okay, well, we
That's
know
because they got
Hoffman
more
is
money,
there.
and they got more money, and more money means they can do more cool traps. Cooler the
Right,
traps, the better.
but how is this now being done? John's now on a gurney. He's dying, and this all has to be. That's been my only problem with this is just how quickly it's all done. Even though
But
I love it, but
here's looking at it from, not forget the story, looking at it from the studio, or the perspective of the folks that are going to publish this movie. What do the fans want? What does the audience want? We want people in traps, the clock ticking down, them having to cut themselves. That's what we want to get. We
sure.
want we want that, for lack of a better
But
term,
right. Like
horror
the
porn.
opening of Saw 7 or whatever with those two, that couple, or whatever, there's three
Oh,
people or
so
whatever. I think it was three
yeah,
people, right?
seven.
And they are in the, like, in public, right? So you would have to think somebody would have to put them out there in public, get away with, what I
Well,
mean? There's just too much.
yeah,
When you think
it's
about it,
you
can't
you
happen. None of this can happen,
no, because
Yeah.
you have that was a store, and it had the windows all around it. That's
right?
because that's Saw 3D, and the two guys are strapped, the girl's above, and it all has to do with the saws, like the buzz saws going. And so did they put a curtain around?
Those I've been to New York a million times. All those stores like that, when they're redoing the window decorations, there's a curtain that comes around. So that's what would have happened. My mind was the curtain was up, no, nobody's seeing it.
Well,
So
so what? So they took them in the curtains into the thing? Like, did they? Because we don't see the beauty of filmmaking is that you can, as long as you don't show anybody how you did it, people will just be like, "Oh, that happened," right?
yeah.
Nobody's going to question it unless they start thinking about it and doing a podcast like we do, where when you start looking at the stuff and we go, "That doesn't really make any sense." Like, the more we look at that, that's stupid. It's a
No,
cool scene. Don't get me wrong. It's just stupid to me. Like,
yeah.
it wouldn't make any sense.
A lot of the stuff in the Saw movies, as far as getting them into the traps and all this stuff, it's a little far fetched. But I mean,
Well,
okay. But I mean, so is a killer clown running around, wearing somebody else's head. So there's other things that happen in other horror movies that are far fetched, but we forgive those things because we're getting what we want, and that is making a girl cut off her own leg or making a guy cut pipe bombs off of his arms. And we're getting cringed out because of like the great effects and the blood and everything. And that's really for Saw fans. Those are the things you want. You're willing to forgive
Mhm. Well,
some of the stuff with the
well,
time lapses
yes.
or
I don't have a problem with it in that way. I just have questions on how was this done so quickly? How many
right.
yeah.
people were there? Did a truck have to come from Home Depot, La Home Depot, and drop off stuff?
The Home
We
Depot.
got a package for Kramer. John Kramer is, oh, just sign here, sir. Like who gets all this stuff? That's what. But while
So
watching it, I don't have a problem with it. Like the guy, because like you would have to buy certain things, like specific things, if you're trying to do a trap or a game that mimics what the person did. So if the guy needs to have his eyes poked out,
Yeah,
you
like vacuumed out. That was awesome.
yeah, like because and talk about far fetched. I mean, it's really
But wasn't
stretching
that a
with
dream?
some of these.
Somebody said that was a
That was
dream.
it is a dream. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the intern, nurse guy put the stuff back
right. And then he said,
into the
"Good,
drawer.
good decision."
Yeah.
He was
But
gonna
in
go
his
after him.
head, this is what he's thinking. And they did that too when Jill, John Kramer's wife, there's the dream sequence where Hoffman kills her
Mm.
with the car on the tracks with the point. It's like, okay, I know it's a dream, but how was this made with
so here is my counterpoint, which will explain exactly why they don't do any of this, showing you him building the traps, showing him getting the materials, showing how he does all this stuff, because they would be spoiling how the trap works. If you've seen
Yeah.
him build these traps,
well,
then
but
you're
they
taking all the
have.
fun
And
out of watching the
no,
people
no,
stuck
I'm
in the
going to
traps.
disagree because they have shown that. And because obviously people have asked. So we do part three talks about part one, and part four talks about, then part six talks about part four, and then five goes back to two. And we see how this stuff
But
is
going
like Hoffman
backwards is
setting up the
fine.
gun.
Going backwards is fine because we've already seen those traps. It would be like, me telling you that uh if you're going to watch Captain America tonight, it's like me telling you that Captain America died. Well,
I made
you
it
know,
through about a quarter of it, and the streaming thing was all messed up,
uh
and I
well,
just gave up.
I'm kidding. I
He's
was
talking
using
about,
that.
but I thought you were talking about the Captain America, the old Captain America or whatever. But yeah, I guess he didn't actually die
No,
yet.
Black Falcon, Captain America.
No.
So, but I was just kidding. It doesn't happen. Or maybe it does. Whatever. I'm not going to spoil that movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. But the point is, I can talk about once the audience has seen the trap in operation, then it's okay to go back and show how it was created. So
Right.
if you're saying in six, we talk about two, in four, we talk about three, that's okay because those have already happened. I don't want to see a trap being built. I want to see somebody in it and see the trap in operation before I see how it was built. And I
But
think that
I'm not
what,
saying that. But I'm not saying that. We don't need to know how it's. I'm just curious of how these things are made so quickly. And
yeah,
how do you come up with a guy who does a hit and run on a kid and he's up on a device that
Well,
turns his arms?
well,
Like how
that's
does,
but if you show how they're made so quickly, you will spoil the
well, right. But
traps.
here's the thing. Then show it at the end of the movie when they're showing all those flashbacks of how they all did it at the end. They just show like, because the question could come up, how did you do this so quickly? Or,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And
I
then,
think, but the
you know,
target audience, I think we're thinking the target audience for this would care. I think the target audience is going, I just want to see people, mutilated. I want to see a guy that takes bad people and fucks them up. I think that's really the goal for these movies. So really trying to break down and explain, I don't think that's too high on the producers or directors priority list.
no,
I
it's just a curiosity for me. But like
I'm with
how
you.
does
I
how
would,
does Hoffman in part five, get a pendulum? How does he
yeah,
create a
yeah,
pendulum?
like
yeah,
he's not
And
an architect
by himself.
unless he uses Jigsaw's like already design
like the
maybe
blueprints.
yeah
Yeah,
use all maybe he's made so many blueprints already of different things that Hoffman has, but we don't
No,
know that.
because part five is the pendulum. John found it disgusting. So
Uh,
he kidnaps Hoffman and gives him the chance to become his protege. And he goes, "You use these for revenge," which is why
right.
the guy dies. Now, I do have a problem with the revenge thing in part 10 because he goes, "No, it's redemption." No, it's not. It's not. You're doing revenge. This is absolute 100%
yeah,
revenge.
yeah,
You're no better than Hoffman. It's like which is what the woman tells him. The main
Well,
woman
I kind
says,
of
"You're
disagree with
just as
that.
bad as anybody."
I
It's revenge. It's
I disagree
absolute
with I
revenge.
it is revenge, but I don't think he's worse than Hoffman. He lets her live or whatever at the end. Like, she has to survive the thing. It's whoever wins at the end with the two people with the we forgot to even mention that that guy comes back. What was his name? Something with a P, right? Preston or
Peter or
something.
something like that.
Peters, yeah, something like that. I uh at first I was like, what is this guy doing? He's just like hanging out there. Like he's not, and he's getting all like upset about everything. And it's
Oh,
kind of getting annoying.
Parker.
Parker, new started with the P.
oh yeah,
And that guy just started German curse. But at the end, that dude dies. She, I guess, lives, or whatever, which meant that it wasn't revenge. If it were revenge, he would have just had them both die. So he's not as bad as Hoffman.
Okay,
He's
I'll take
still,
back that he's as bad as Hoffman. I would say that maybe he's a degree lower, but this was still like the woman said. Why didn't you just walk away? All you had to do was walk away, and but he chose to find them, kidnap them, and stick them in these traps, which, when you really look at it, serve no purpose to him saying, "Oh, well, this is to make you a better person." No, it isn't. You're torturing these people because they stole your money. And you still have
No,
cancer.
no, they stole his hope. And like that he thought he was going to be able to live and I guess torture other more people for the rest of his life for as long as he could. And they pretty much just did nothing to him. They made it look like, which my only big problem with that was it took them 5 seconds to take off the thing and see that nothing that they didn't cut into him at all, that nothing actually happened to him. So he was like, it gave him 2 seconds to go, wait a minute, like they fucked me over, which I think is what Cecilia was hoping would be the thing of like they fucked me over. Oh, she got me good. I'm just gonna let her go. It's fucking Jigsaw. He's not gonna let him go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she knew that. That's why she told Parker to come by if basically she doesn't, if he calls and she doesn't answer, then go. But how did she know he was gonna do it at that place exactly, though? Right? Like he could have taken her to any other like warehouse or something, but he
Tracking the
chose.
phone, maybe?
I don't think so. I think well, he could have, but I think it was I think it was that they planned that they thought, oh, this is where this guy's gonna be, you know. Though then
I mean,
again,
it's possible. And so John figures out that this isn't real, right? He goes back, he sees the operation area is all messed up.
mm,
How stupid are you to leave the DVD there that talks about brain surgery? Why wouldn't you take that with you? Because John already went through that whole thing with like the guys in the mask at the beginning, and we know now that that's all fake. But he could have, maybe he would have thought, oh shit, what if the government came and took them? Oh crap, what if the army came and got
But
them?
I think I agree. And I thought that at first. Why didn't they take the DVD? But then, like the other guy, oh, my neck was cut or my stomach was cut. And then, I mean, they were obviously fake. But when John Kramer takes the bandages off his head and his hair's all still there, obviously he never had a surgery. He knew
mhm.
that it never happened. So I think at that point, they're like, who cares if he finds the DVD? He's
No,
gonna
no,
find
I think
out.
they
But
planned
wouldn't they
that.
use the
I
DVD again?
No, 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 no. I think they planned it. So they put that there so he would see it, so he would go after her. He wanted
I
she.
don't I don't think so.
You don't think that she because
No, no, because you have to determine when did she figure out that he was Jigsaw? At the
before they
beginning, maybe not.
no
Maybe she figured it
this
out later.
no she knew it from the very beginning. She set this whole thing up to get revenge on Jigsaw, to put one on Jigsaw because
For what reason?
I have no idea. But like that's never said. But it comes with the ending of the movie. That guy who had his stomach cut or whatever told him, "Oh, I got this great place you should check out," and everything like that. He said John Kramer, so he knows John's name. He told the
Everybody
lady,
knows his
I
name.
know, and he told that lady about it, I guess, because he never actually got, I don't think he was ever sick. He never
No,
No, no,
had,
no.
that guy, he was
No,
on the
he was a
payroll.
plant. Yeah,
I
Yeah, he
yeah,
was on the
yeah.
payroll. He was a
Yeah,
bad
he
guy.
he
right.
goes around and they probably have more than one person that
Mhm.
goes around and does
So
that.
but he knew it was John Kramer the whole time. So there
I
was
don't
no
think
They,
way.
so.
well, no,
Yeah.
he only knew it was John Kramer because they were in that support group together. And so he met John Kramer. So I don't think he was targeting John Kramer. He was targeting anybody from that support group.
I
But
don't.
Yeah.
obviously, him showing up to get coffee, he was obviously following John Kramer around, and he was going there so hoping that John Kramer would recognize him. But they make that a point to acknowledge that they do say that, oh, I'm so and so from the group. So that's where he met John Kramer. That's how
I,
we knew.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, so yeah, you're saying he was always a plant, so he was always a plant. That was always gonna be the thing. I think that once he knew it was John Kramer, he told what's her name, Cecilia, which we don't see any of this, so this is all speculation from my
Yeah.
my thing that he told Cecilia, John Kramer, a guy named John Kramer, is going to be contacting you, right? I gave him your email address and everything. So she probably looked him up or whatever and was like, oh, wow, the Jigsaw killer. I have this opportunity to get one over him if I just do everything the way it is, and then she left the DVD out and it either was of an accident or it was on purpose.
I think
I don't
it's just the screenwriters wanted to leave it out so the audience knows that this was all fake. That's
well,
what it
this
was. That's
also
to me
he
what
knew
it
was
is.
all fake.
Yeah, I
So
don't think it's hard. I don't. Maybe the guy from the group did contact her, going, "Hey, I got a sap. I got this guy. His name is John Kramer. He's going to be shooting you an email. Maybe after that, because you got to take like it's okay. I'm going to use Star Wars as an example, and with Vader trying to find Luke Skywalker, if if Luke Skywalker is like if Skywalker is like Smith, then okay, there's going to be like a million million Skywalkers. But if Luke Skywalker is a limited name, why couldn't Vader find him instantly?
he didn't have Google.
And I guess not back then. So you would do this. So it would be the same thing with John Kramer. It would be like, okay, if there's a million John Kramers, then maybe they didn't know who this guy was. But if John Kramer's kind of, not like a normal name, then they should have known pretty fast, like, oh fuck, that sounds like the
That's what I'm
Jigsaw
saying.
guy.
I'm saying that
Yeah.
she knew that. She knew it from the
I,
very beginning, and she was happy to get one on him. And she already had it planned that that guy was going to come and save her if this happened. So she knew who he was. She planned this. This was something up her sleeve. I mean,
yeah,
I
I kind of get that, but my belief on it is that she probably has these people out there, like I forget his name, the black guy, that get finder's fees for sending her these people. So he gets, John Kramer goes down there. This guy gets his cut of the money. And I think that guy just said, hey, I'm going to this group pretending like I've got cancer so I can get to meet people, so I can send Cecilia their names and I can, set them up to get robbed. I think it was just coincidental, because how would they know that John Kramer, the big bad Jigsaw, was in, a cancer support group? How would they be able to target that? I think it was all coincidental up until the point that maybe when she got John Kramer's name and when he came down, maybe she figured it out. Because
right. I mean,
I still felt like when they were having the conversation, when she asked him, "What do you do?" I don't think she knew at that point who he really was.
Henry Kessler was the character, the black guy. It's Henry
Okay.
Kessler, and that was played by Michael Beach. And I remember that name from things or whatever. I mean, he's in Tulsa King and Mayor of Kingstown and
Oh,
Aquaman and a bunch of different things.
yeah.
But
He was very familiar looking. And Tulsa King and Mayor Kingstown, both great shows. So, but yeah, his face was very familiar. I just couldn't place him.
who's
But
in
uh,
was it in Tulsa King or no in Mayor's Kingstown? He's Kareem slash Captain Moore. And then in so I don't know if that means anything to you. And in Tulsa King, he's Mark. I don't
yeah,
know. Like, yeah, so
yeah,
small roles, I'm sure.
they're both great shows, and if anybody hasn't seen those, I highly recommend checking them out. Tulsa King is like a goofy kind of mob show, so it doesn't really it's if you're longing for the Sopranos or something like that, it scratches the itch,
It's
even though it's not on that level.
it's got the
So
ambassador of Hollywood, Sylvester Stallone.
there you go. Well, one of the
One of the
ambassadors, one of them,
ambassadors. I'm
yes.
sorry.
One of
One of the
three.
But but anyways, whether she knew or not, um going back to it all, the timing, I wish they would have done better with showing, like that time, like maybe putting that time lapse in there or something. But I do think there's a couple other things that I wanted to mention. Shawnee Smith showing up. You know, Shawnee Smith is great, and it was cool that they kept Shawnee playing Amanda. But man, 20 years had gone by, and Shawnee looks old.
And
She
I didn't like her hair. Like I didn't like her hair short. I wanted it long because
That was
wasn't it
weird.
supposed to be in between? Wasn't she? Didn't she have long hair? So
No,
like,
she had short hair.
when did she have short hair?
In
Because
the first one, didn't she have long hair in the first movie?
Well,
I
she's
think
not
she,
a thing in the first film. You know, she's like a victim. In the second film, she has the short
yeah.
hair.
I,
Okay.
So, and it always
Yeah.
looks like a wig. With me, because some people said, well, Tobin Bell looks way too old for this to take place between one and two. I think
Yeah.
it's perfect. I think he looks like a cancer patient, and so to me, it doesn't bother me at all. And then with Shawnee Smith, I don't care that she looks old. I'm just happy that she's back because I thought she got fucked over in, final chapter. That should have been a 2 hour movie or maybe two parts, and you bring everybody back
mm,
including her. And so I thought that she got a bad rap. So
hmm.
I was just happy, even though it looks, yeah, she's old and she looks like she's had some surgery done. I was happy to just have her there. She looks
Yeah.
very manly, and I don't know if that's on purpose, but she does look
No,
like a
in
dude.
person, because it was 19 days ago, I was standing about 3 feet away from her for a few minutes. She does look, she's very thin, very frail looking. In the movie, she looks like she has big boob implants or something. In person, that's not there. In real life, maybe she just, either had a reduction, got out the implants, or
Maybe they
maybe
put she put tissues in there.
something. Yeah, because in the
Well, she
in
in the
Saw
movie, she's
X,
always had big boobs in the movies, at
yeah,
least.
but
Right.
in real life, they are
But
not there.
we've never seen her real titties. Like she's never
No,
taken them off.
but I
So
mean, look in the image behind you there. You see her
yeah.
tits are
Oh yeah, no,
very
I
pronounced,
absolutely.
and in real life, it's not the case. But irregardless of all that,
Irregardless.
uh, what you see on the screen is what she looks like in real life, minus the boobs. She's very, very thin, and looks very, very much, 50 years old, as opposed to, what she was in the first one. But I am also, John, glad that they brought her back, because as much as, and maybe I'm glad they didn't have the ability or the attempt to at de-aging her with CGI.
Oh, thank
Just leave
Christ.
her like that, because that CGI looks terrible. But I'm glad they
Fucking
brought her back,
Scream.
even though
Hmm.
it's a glaring, you just notice it. It's hard not to notice her age.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if you watch one and two, but you put this in the middle, she's going to look dramatically different
Right.
from film to.
Like if you
Yeah.
did a back to back thing, but it doesn't bother me at all because we all as fans of Saul, if you are a fan of Saul and you are following, 1 through 3 or whatever, one is Saul 9 or Saul 10 and two. If you're following that, thing trajectory, yeah, you would know, but then you'd also know she's older now, so
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna
Well,
worry
yeah,
about
because they never mention this in part two, part three, part
Yeah.
four. They never mention about going, to Mexico. And what I liked is this thing was filmed entirely in New Mexico. So I like that. I like that also they spoke Spanish. I like that they had subtitles. I like that, and that they only seemed to speak English when like John was around.
it.
For people who probably couldn't understand him.
Yeah.
I like that. It felt very authentic. And
Yeah.
I don't think that it matters with Shawnee Smith with her age because it's a good movie. It's a good story.
Yeah, she does such a
Yeah.
great job. But I don't know. Like, I do love the idea that this is in Mexico, that this is not because we've watched franchise movies where they go out of America to somewhere else. Wasn't there in a Paranormal Activity whatever? There, I think weren't they in Mexico or some kind of
Well, the
city in
marked
Mexico?
ones is like the Spanish or
Right.
Mexican.
So
their
I
spin-off.
think
Yes,
that, but I
it's
think that was not in actually that was in
it's in LA.
California.
It's just more
Yeah,
in kind of an urban area.
a
So
Yeah.
Spanish, area.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, Saw X definitely felt like they were in Mexico City or, down near Mexico City. So yeah.
but
yeah.
it takes place in 2001. Right? That's like between everything. And by the way, if you look at the what is it, the goofs that they made on IMDb that got written on there, a lot of them are about the fact that it's like set in 2001. John has a Gmail account. Gmail didn't exist until 2004.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, so John is offered a tequila called Codijo 1530, which did not exist in 2001.
Oh, that's funny.
Despite being set in 2001 after John lands in Mexico City, the Metro bus in Reforma is shown. This did not exist at the time. I mean, it's just, oh, and
That's funny.
my favorite. This is my favorite. When John is buying a bottle of tequila, the store has a signage referencing apps like
Oh,
Amazon and delivery service Rappi. Apps of this type did not exist in 2001. Apps did
nice.
not exist, period, in
That's fun.
2001, which is when the film was set. So I
Uh,
think it's so funny that most of the goofs in it are like, oh fuck, we left. Like maybe people
yeah.
just didn't think anybody would notice because I didn't
They
notice, you
they
know?
saved budget on the continuity department.
Yeah. We're
Well, what
like, you
about
don't
the
need to come.
phone? We got the phone from like the main doctor woman,
Yeah,
and
it looked like
that's
a
where
flip phone
Amanda
like
sees.
that.
So like, was that the correct time, or
I
did
think
they just
so.
The flip, I mean, flip phones were around then. So
Yeah, I think it was a flip phone.
because that's like a like part of the plot,
Right. Yeah,
So
I think they
you'd
would have
think that they would
be
definitely
careful with
make the
that.
phone.
Yeah.
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 The
Yeah.
one thing that bothered me in this, and it bothered me because I've now seen this 3 times, and it bothers me every single time, is the headless body that and how the doctor moves it so easily when it's dead weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it really kind of looks like a rubber body. It does, she just grabs it and just boom, 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 and then she kind of throws it. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, this is a woman. She would, even for a man, it would be hard to kind of drag this
a
thing.
dead
And it
body.
would be
Because,
dead
yeah,
weight. It
yeah,
it would weigh something, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the remake of Night of the Living Dead when Johnny's head hits the tombstone and you can clearly see that it's rubber when
right.
he hits it. And people always point that out as a bad effect, even though it looks good. It just looks like rubber when he hits. This was the
Yeah.
same thing to me that she should have been struggling to kind of
Well,
pull it over.
there's also another thing with that. Cecilia cuts out the intestines of Valentina. The intestines are not loose in the body. They have a lot of connecting tissue. It wouldn't be as easy as let me
Yeah.
just cut out all these things and use it as
Yeah,
a
and
rope.
intestines can go like 15 miles. We learned that from Machete.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that was the next note that I had was talking about that intestine rope scene. Yeah. Her pulling the body, you're right. The dead weight, it should have been heavier. I mean, even let's say that girl weighed, 120 pounds. You cut off her head and a leg, it's still going to be at least 70 pounds. That's not going to just drag across the floor that easy. The cutting and the pulling out the intestines, that was a little bit like too easy, but it was still a pretty cool tactic to try and pull that cart over to get the
It was
phone.
it was an original thing. You've never seen anybody cut out intestines just to use it as a rope. So
Yeah, and
like,
it
It still
doesn't
was
just.
done better in Machete. So much better in Machete.
I've
So
never seen Machete.
they're
Maybe I'll
in
have
a
to watch it.
hospital and a doctor is walking along with a bunch of students and he's explaining the intestines. Oh yes, well some intestines could go 15 miles and he's talking about intestines. And then all of a sudden that's when Machete comes along and cuts the guy's stomach open and uses it as a rope. He jumps out of a
oh,
window and because he
Uh,
hears all of this but it's done in such a way that it doesn't you don't think it's going to happen and it's just you think it's just a doctor with patience, and then all of a sudden he does it, and it's very
yeah.
funny. It's a great scene.
Okay.
Machete
Um,
don't text.
so machete don't text.
And
Yeah.
so so yeah, I never seen like I've seen Machete years ago. I don't remember it. I don't even know if that's part one or part two, but I'm
I
guessing that's
forget if it's one or
part one.
two. Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember. Um, but however, so like for me in my head, seeing that scene with the intestines and the rope was like the first time I'd ever like it popped
It's
in
a good
my
scene. It's
thing.
funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's
We talked about like the moment that John Kramer's on the phone and he mentions detective, or the moment that that Shawnee is revealed, or the pig face costumes and stuff, all the kind of nostalgic throwback things that we love about the Saw franchise. I thought maybe my one of my very favorite moments of the movie was the Billy reveal, and then Billy rolling in with the surgical cart, with the little tape recorder on it. Wasn't that great? I just absolutely love that. And that was another one of those moments where I did go to myself, man, how much time did he spend preparing all this shit,
He has to get
to
Billy. Like, what
you know,
did Amanda
Yeah.
bring Billy down?
Did they ship Billy or
yeah.
did he make a new one right there? I was bummed that they left Billy behind. They
I
walk right
know.
past
Yeah,
him, and it's just
that was
like,
mean.
what the hell?
But remember, we've talked
Yeah.
about this, John, that there's a billion Billies. He uses a different Billy in almost every movie, or whatever. So, I guess he just has a million of them, and he can leave a Billy behind, or whatever. My thing with that was I really like the scene with Billy where he brings the tape recorder to the one girl, and she's like, "Oh fuck no," and she throws it,
Oh yeah.
and then he's like uh thinking like that's gonna stop this whole thing. And what's his and John Kramer's on the like the intercom thing, and it's like that's not gonna work. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
now I'm gonna have to be Billy and do the
Yeah,
whole
he becomes the tape
he
recorder.
becomes the tape recorder. And I thought that was actually a really cool scene, and my like that was one of my favorite scenes because it also ended up being one of my favorite like traps, the radar trap where she's up there and she has to
Or the
cut her
the radiation. Yeah, where
radiation.
for
Yeah.
Gabby.
Yeah, poor girl. I actually really liked her. I felt really sorry for her like Amanda did. I felt like she was,
No.
you didn't feel sorry for her?
Oh, I
No,
did. I
because
felt sorry
she's
for her.
part of it. I like that
But
Amanda
she's part
had
of it because she
some
has an
sympathy for
addiction.
her. I don't care about the addiction. Nobody says you have to put a needle in your arm, and they do it
Yeah.
anyways. So
Well,
You had
true.
Cecilia says it's free will. She had the choice to
Yeah.
come do this, or she wasn't being held at gunpoint, and she wasn't being told she did it for drugs, for drug money,
Yeah.
and stuff and whatnot. Which I think, as a person who's in recovery, I think addiction is a terrible thing. I'm not a drug addiction. I'm alcohol, so it's a little bit different. Drug addiction, a lot more younger people die from it because they just can't stop it. And, it is really hard once you get addicted to it to stop. But instead of going and helping this doctor and trying to get money, she should have just, went to rehab,
Yeah.
or
No,
something.
I get it. I understand both sides because I do. I don't have much sympathy for people who live their lives in a self-destructive manner.
Mm,
But at the same time, I did like Gabby. I think she made those decisions probably out of the need. She was probably already an addict, and her addiction
mm,
forced her to make these bad decisions. Maybe she would have, maybe she wouldn't. Now, she passed her test. And so the fact that she survived, even though she was all fucked up from the radiation, John Kramer tells Amanda, take her to the hospital. Well, obviously that doesn't happen. Cecilia kills her. And that right there, when Cecilia killed Gabby, I felt like that moment right there, John, or even better yet, Amanda somehow at the end should have went and killed Cecilia. They shouldn't have left her, or they should have stuck with the idea that she was going to be locked in that place forever, something to punish her for killing Gabby. And I mean, I understand she's already robbed all these people, taken all their money, but she turned out to be a real evil bitch. With, I mean, even though the other girl was already dead, the whole ripping out the intestines, killing Gabby, just willing to kill her, boyfriend or whatever that guy was, she turned out to be a real evil woman. And
Yeah,
so
worse than
I
Jigsaw, in a way.
oh yeah, no, very
But
much worse.
but here's the thing. So John, I want to know this because we've talked about this a lot on these Saw movies, and a lot of times I'm the exact opposite of you. Uh, and it's kind of funny that I feel like I'm the exact opposite again, and it's a different scenario. But generally speaking, in the Saw movies, the people are really messed up people. Like in parts, let's use part six, the insurance people and everything. They well know what's going on, whatever. And you think it's okay if they die, in your mind, right? Like you've always said this, that they deserve to die for the stuff that they do, right? Like the pain that they cause other people and allowing them to die, like that you're okay with them being in these traps, right?
Yeah.
And everything. I always say I feel terrible for these characters because even though they are like, some of them are just secretaries or something inside the insurance
No,
people, they don't deserve any
no,
of this
no.
stuff.
You're a big Kevin Smith fan, and as I'm sure Philip has seen Clerks. There's that whole discussion of just the people who built the Death Star and they died in the explosion of the Death Star, or a
I don't think they
stormtrooper,
should have
or
died.
whatever. It's guilt by association. You don't have to work
Yeah, but
for a shit company where you get a bonus if somebody dies. So no, they deserved what they got. I don't even think that they deserve a test. I think they should just die. Just
But do you think that
they're
these people should just die because they worked for a shit person who's helping them
yes,
do this? I
yeah.
yeah,
I mean I know Hitler's an extreme, but it's
Jesus
like,
Christ.
but but would you let the people go around Hitler, that Mengele and all these people who did experiments, and just be like, well, they weren't Hitler, but we'll just let them go. No,
No,
they deserve to die too.
Oh, that's a little bit different, I think. I think that's a
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an extreme, and I don't think it matters if if you have a whole room full of drug dealers and the main guy is there too, all those people could be killed. It's just that's what they're
I
not, they're worthless. They serve no purpose.
yeah.
see, for me, I am a very big believer in people being, well, two different types of people I want to mention. One, victims of their time. Uh, like we look back at George Washington, the first president of the United States. He was a slave owner. That was a horrible thing for him to be. Rich white people were slave owners. He was raised up by other slave owners. That was what they did. It was wrong. Nowadays, we look back and go, it's absolutely disgusting. But that's what they did back then. It doesn't make it right. So that and the other type of people are opportunists. People who would not normally do fucked up things, except when the opportunity, if you're putting, the root of all evil, you're putting money out in front of them, going like, hey, find me a victim or pretend to be a doctor or something real simple, and you're going to get paid hand over fist. There are people whose lives are they're maybe, I mean, especially down in Mexico, they're maybe poverty stricken, or they're struggling or whatever. They want to do better for their family and they see this opportunity. So maybe they go, you know what, I'm going to do this. And even though it's against my better judgment, um, I don't feel sorry for them. I am a bit of an asshole and I just don't care. I don't feel sorry for them, but I understand the reasonings why George Washington had slaves. I understand the reasonings why opportunists do things to better their lives. Uh, In real life, I may have a different outlook, but in a horror movie, I want them dead. I want to burn their house to the ground. I want to go there and I want to piss on the ashes. I want them dead. So, that's it's a horror movie. We want them killed. So I like the extreme of the hardcore punishment that they receive for this. But in real life, I may have a different opinion.
Well, okay. So, my big question is, like n- we've all talked about how they said, or what Cecilia said, you could have just left it alone, right? You could have just let it be, right? And everything, you could have gone back to America and just said, well, this sucks. I lost my money, or whatever. But I mean, she messed with John Kramer, who is Jigsaw, and he's not, that's just who he is. He's going to do this and stuff like that. But what do you say about that? Do you think he should have just went back, or do you think he's doing the right thing, killing all these people?
It's
Oh,
revenge.
But do you think
in
that's right? Do you think that makes him just as bad as Hoffman?
Uh, if this
for
wasn't personal with John Kramer, then Hoffman was revenge because like his sister was killed, and it was her like fiance or husband or whoever that was killed his sister, and so I think that was the guy under the pendulum. So I would have no problem with that because this guy is an abuser, and you serve no purpose. In this case, they're killing many people, and Amanda even says they're all underground. But it is revenge, which is what
Hmm.
John doesn't do. This is revenge.
but whether it's revenge or avenging others, that sense of vengement for these people. Yes, it is in a sense revenge, but he has not issued any of them a death sentence until the end. But those people made their own choice.
Yeah,
Cecilia
that's
and the boyfriend, they made their own choice. He told them, if you choose the gun, it's going to lead to bigger, problems. So he warned them, don't do it and you'll be okay. He didn't sentence any of these people to death. He made them play the game. Now, you can question whether the games are survivable or not, but he made them play the game, which is what he always does. So in the other movies, it's typically he's avenging other people, making these bad people play the game that have maybe done others wrong. And this time it is kind of revenge where it's making people play the game because he was done wrong. To me, I don't care about the difference there. But the thing is, this movie, remember, is we're looking at this movie as a John Kramer movie, where the others are the movies about the victims. So I do kind of like that they shifted from it being avenging to revenging because this movie is about John Kramer. And I think he had every right to do it. They screwed him over. If you go to the letter of the law, no, he didn't legally, but in an eye for an eye world, what she was doing, letting, especially let's just take the thought that somebody had one of the numbers, somebody had given them like 400 and something $1,000. If that person that died, John Kramer, I think gave him what, 250,000. But if the person that gave him that 400,000 hadn't spent that money on this fake treatment, maybe they could have spent that money on other treatments that might have saved their life. So bankrupting these people obviously was a death sentence for them. So in a sense, Cecilia is responsible for their death. So I have no problem, with him taking out revenge on her for what she did. And it's the question is the outliers, the rest of the cast, did they deserve it? Cecilia definitely deserved to die, and it's kind of disappointing that she doesn't.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you go off of the deleted scene, I mean, in the theatrical version, I guess we're supposed to take it that she does die. So maybe, maybe not. But
Yeah.
I have no problem with him doing the revenge thing. Just admit to it. Just sit there and don't be a hypocrite
Yeah.
because you are this is revenge.
You
That's
guys can
that's
see. That's Hoffman. Hoffman and me.
Nice.
oh,
Yes,
look at you.
Nice.
whoops, sorry. Whatever. Anyway, I got to meet him. I was in the elevator with him and we got to chatting and then lo and behold, he said he'd take a free picture with me because I knew his manager. So I'm like, all right,
Nice.
I'll
That's
take it,
cool.
you know.
Well, wasn't he was in at least one or two of the Mahal brother movies. He
Right,
is
he's been in
very
a few of them. Yeah.
if you have the budget, he is very attainable. I would
Yeah.
love to make a movie with Hoffman in it with
Mm.
forgive me forgetting his
Costas
name, but
Mandalore.
yeah, thank you, Costas Mandalore. Yeah. Everything I heard about him is that he's a really
Him
nice guy.
him and his brother are big indie guys, you know.
Okay.
Louis Mandalore does a lot of action movies and stuff,
Hmm.
and Costas does a lot more horror kind of based stuff or whatever and things. But they're both really great guys, and I haven't met Louis, but I was lucky to meet Costas, and he was just, super friendly. I didn't know who he was at the time. Like I didn't recognize him at first, and
Wow.
I was in the elevator with him, and I was like, are you going to the convention? He's like, yeah, I'm going to my table. I'm like, oh, cool. What do you do? And he's like, I'm an actor. And I was like,
And then you're like, well, shit. In that case,
and
can I
then he
take a
goes,
picture with you?
no, but then I was like, what's your name? He goes, Costas Mandalore. And I'm like, oh my God, from Saw. Oops. I am so sorry. I was like, don't get me wrong. I'm sorry. Just don't watch those movies. I told him that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, to
Yeah.
somebody act like I knew who they were, but he was super cool and took a picture and I'm very, very happy when people will take pictures, especially for free. But they're
Yeah.
they're pretty nice people out there, you know.
Yeah, everything I've heard about him is that that he is a great guy and good to work with on set too. So I just
He's just an obnoxious character, and that's who he's playing,
yeah.
right? I love it.
There's actors like that that seem like Joey Pants. Every movie that Joey Pants is in, he's terrible. He's a Fratelli
Yep,
and
and
in The
Goonies, yep.
Sopranos. I mean, everything he's in, he is a terrible person. So, but that's okay. I mean, what did
But
I
he's
just
just got that Italian mob look to him,
yeah, yeah. In the Matrix, he double crosses them. He's a
Mm,
scumbag. So, people get, he's typecast, but at least he's not. At least he's working.
mm.
And I'm fine with that. I'll tell you what, I would love. I have a script, a movie I want to make, and I would absolutely love to get him in it to play one of my bad guys. And of course, it would just because of what we've seen from him and what we know he can do or be is why I have in my mind I want him to play this role. But I'm sure he's probably very versatile, but we haven't seen it.
I don't know. I'm sure there's something that Joey Pants has been in that's,
Yeah.
been more than that.
Oh,
He plays a cop
I
or
was
Oh, you're
talking
talking
narcos.
about Costas. I was like,
Costas.
whoa,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
really going big with Joey.
Oh yeah, no, good, yeah, good luck with Joey, but no, but Costas, yeah, Costas.
Costas, I
Um,
mean, would be great. He wouldn't cost us, much.
yeah, no,
But
he wouldn't. He wouldn't cost us an arm or a leg, but bump.
but
Did you
Jigsaw would.
saw that coming? I saw that coming, but bump.
Yeah.
So speaking of money, I think I should do my thing.
Okay.
So Saw X, its budget was 13 million. That's
What?
huge for a Saw. Yeah, 13
But no,
million.
but I
That
thought that's actually small. That feels small for a movie, but for a
Not
Saw
for a
movie.
Saw movie when they were like 3
yeah,
million, 5 million. But it made the box office was 125.3 million. That is a hit.
wow, yeah, that is great.
So when did so Saw 7 was the last one. Does that mean Saw 6 didn't or was the last one before like Jigsaw and all that stuff started happening? But like Saw 7 was supposed to be the final chapter, or whatever. Was it because Saw 6 didn't do very well and they were starting to
No, it was we talked about this. It was because of Paranormal Activity.
because
Saw was number one in the box office for Halloween, and it had been for a while. And then the first Paranormal Activity came out and it knocked it down to second place. So
Uh,
that was Saw 6. And so they said, okay, we're going to wrap this up because, because then Paranormal Activity 2 was made. That made more money than Paranormal Activity 1. So they wrapped it up with Final Chapter, and then Paranormal Activity took that spot for years. And then of course, by the time they hit the Ghost Dimension and some of these other ones, it had declined,
mm.
just like the Saw movies. So,
So
they
I
were
think, yeah, there's a parallel with those, like and stuff. So now the Saw movies are doing well again, and the Paranormal Activity movies aren't doing very well or not getting made much, anymore. They're
Yeah, they did the one Next of Kin, but that was direct. That was kind of a
direct to
COVID
streaming.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it wasn't very good. I remember us doing it. I didn't really like it.
Oh man, I really liked it.
Yeah, I thought it didn't feel like a Paranormal Activity movie to me in my head. But I think we had that whole discussion, so you guys can go watch that
Yes, there's a
underneath
whole video of
a whole video of us discussing it, which is funny because I mean, John and I do the show and we become kind of like Siskel and Ebert, where we sometimes will agree on things and then sometimes we will absolutely not agree, and we will have different opinions. And I'm completely cool with that because there are some movies that we're gonna do that I'm sure John will like better than I will like, and some I'll like more than he likes, but who knows? Some are better than others, some are worse, Who knows which
So I have a question for you guys. In the post credit scene or the mid credit scene where we see Hoffman and John Kramer together, with the guy, now has that claw thing on his stomach. Did you notice the dead body on the ground? Were they back? Was that the original bathroom from the first Saw movie? Did anybody catch that? In that scene, there's a dead body on the ground behind him. And I think they're back in that original, the bathroom from the first Saw movie. And I don't think I think it's inconsequential as far as what you're supposed to take away from that, that scene. But I just love the fact that it looked like that original bathroom and there's a dead body on the ground. I thought that was very cool. Wondering if you guys picked up on that at all.
I didn't, but it's been a
Uh,
long time since I saw the first one, so
Yeah.
we've been doing this. God, it feels like forever. Like I think since like maybe summer, that
Mm,
we were doing it.
yeah.
So like because we've been doing every Saw movie,
Yeah.
almost at least once a month. Yeah.
Well,
So
my last thought on it, is, that a thing that I wanted to mention was I would love someday, and I forget what you call what they did with the Godfather movies, where they kind of edit them all chronologically.
hmm,
I want to see that with Saw. I want a 10-hour Saw
that would be longer
movie.
than 10 hours.
Well, how well, I guess it'd be like 20 hours, right?
Yeah.
But putting everything in chronological order for us to watch. Uh it may take, obviously you're not watching it in one sitting, but I would love to see something like that. If somebody had the
oh,
time or ability to put it all in chronological order, I would love it.
yeah, I've been saying that for for a while, and it is the Saw bathroom from the first film. I believe that's Lee Winnell's body in the background.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was cool. It's just a quick glimpse of the body in the background. And I'm like, how
Yeah, because
funny,
he's by a bathtub.
yeah, yeah. But and really you just kind of see the leg there on the ground. But I did like that. I just thought it was fan fodder. It was, I thought it was kind of cool. They didn't need to be there, but they were there, so I liked it. I was very much appreciative.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Now with these reviews, and forgive me for not knowing, but I just don't watch too much YouTube for a lack of time. I make some YouTube, but I don't watch too much. But do you give these movies like a score or a rating
yes,
or
yes,
anything?
we do at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Out of I think do we do out of 5 or out of 10?
I think it's out of five.
I
Yeah,
think it's
I
out of
think we've been
5
doing
because
five.
I do 5 for most of my things because most of the time I put it on Letterbox. you know?
Bingo. I'm with you.
So,
Yep.
yeah, so it's just like easier to be like, oh, I'm gonna put it on Letterbox and give them whatever my Letterbox score is. I'll pick for this because, and I did not I did not put any of the Sauls in, so I'm gonna have to go back and see which ones I did, but I think I've got mine already figured out. What about you? What about let's go with our guest. What would you give this out of 5 stars?
To me, I give this a 4.5
Nice.
is what I scored it on Letterbox. I mean, there are, to me, the movie is very well put together. It's gorgeous. Like, it's shot so beautifully. I think the acting is all fine. I love the locations. The traps are creative and new. I did cringe twice. Once with the cutting the pipe bombs off the arm, and the whole pulling the brain bit out. Even, I mean, they're so far fetched, but I thought they did such a good job with the effects. So I love that, because normally gruesome effects don't get me. But I mean, we have to go in like we did for the last hour here. Look at some of you really dive into it to find things to critique or complain about. Uh, to sit and watch it, I love the throwbacks, the acknowledging uh, Hoffman with saying detective, bringing back Shawnee Smith, all of the Saw things that we love, knowing that, if you're going chronologically, John Kramer's dead. Well, going back to doing something where he's still alive, I love it. Very, very minor things. And so I think 4.5, and that may be high compared to some other scores, but being a big fan of the franchise, I was very happy with what we got.
I'll agree with you with the stuff made me cringe. A lot of it, did like
What?
sucking the eyeballs out made me go, ah, at first. And I was like, that's
You can't
crazy.
be up here.
And then I can, so don't tell me what to do. Um but then
No, you
there's
can't.
the one with the leg and then putting the thing sucking it in or whatever, putting it
Oh
into
yeah,
all that stuff made me cringe,
yeah,
like all of
Don't you
that.
knock
Like
anything
there
down.
there was so many. This is why I don't have my cat up here. He
yeah,
tried to knock down my 4K TV, like
yeah.
off my thing. He was like, fuck this thing and this big ass thing, it's in my way. You know.
Yeah, I generally, when I have to talk to, I don't have animals in here, but I did hear the kid screaming in the background. So there was a while that I just hit the mute button. So you're not hearing me yelling at the dogs or cats or kids crying.
Can you come down here? Can you come down here? Thank
Yeah.
you.
All
And
right.
John's like, fuck you guys, you will listen to me talking to my cats.
Oh, we this is every day. This is almost every podcast, so it's fine. Um, but no, I absolutely love that stuff. So, John, what would be your score?
I would probably give this, I'd probably say, yeah, like a 4.5, but more towards a 5 than a 4.
Hmm.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was so I wanted to give this a what is it? I wanted to give this a 4.5, but I'm pretty sure Saw 1 is a 4.5. And I don't want to tie with it on that, and everything. So I was gonna go with 4, but I'm still not sure like what my other scores were before. So I might have said like 1 was 4.5, and stuff. It's all over the place. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with 4 though, but I can't there's not a Saw movie that I think is like a perfect movie. Even Saw 1 I don't find as like a perfect movie, you know? Um, and John, you said this is your second favorite. So what's your first favorite?
6. Saw
6.
6.
So you like Saw 6 more than Saw 1,
Yeah.
and you like this one more than Saw 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
What
Wow.
about you, Philip?
So for me, it's one, two, three. Hmm. It's tough after that. I would have to go back. It's been so long since I've watched any of the others. Um, and when it came to the Hoffman movies, I was not as big of a fan of those as the others. I I'm at one, two, three, and then 10, maybe, Saw X maybe 4, if it's not my fourth favorite, it would definitely be fifth, but it's probably my fourth favorite in the franchise. And part of like what you were saying with, I love Saw One. Is it perfect? No, it has some issues, but to me, it's the best of the franchise. So then you kind of you have um your starting point right there, and it's hard to rank something as good as Saw One if you don't feel it is. And so, but for me, I forgive the shortcomings of the first Saw movie, and it's still a five for me. And I think that's okay. As a fan, I can look at them. Uh-oh, where'd I go?
Yeah, where did you go?
Uh-oh. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but you can't see
Uh-oh.
you.
I don't know where my camera went. Well, good thing I
Tommy,
think
can
we're
you
almost
hear
done.
me? Tommy, can
Um,
you see me?
I don't know. My camera just shut off for some reason. I don't know what happened. I apologize. But last thing I'll say is I just thought it was um this is not quite as good as the original. But oh, your host is asked to start your oh yay, I'm back. Weird.
It happens occasionally where somebody's thing will just shut off or
Oh,
whatever.
that's funny.
And so I just have to, all we have to do is ask you to start your video and then we work,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I was like, nothing happened over here. It was weird, but anyways, yeah, the first one is the best in the franchise, in my opinion, and this one is not quite as good as the first one. And the first one isn't perfect, but I love it so much that I'm still willing to give it a 5 stars. So that's why I'm okay with this one being at a 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair because I love, you know, I love that I watched all these. I can't say I loved watching all of these movies. It's
Yeah.
just it's not my subgenre. It's not my thing. So I just but we were going on a James Wanathon. So we were watching all of James's, properties and
Yeah.
stuff, Conjuring, Insidious, whatnot. And some of the ones that not people have not talked about and everything. And we're watching those and then we're like, well, we gotta do Saul. And we're like, fuck, there's 10 of them. So there was a whole thing with that. And then and next, I guess we can talk about what's next, right? John, because the Saw movies are done. So we'll be back. And we won't be back for another like month or two or something. I'm gonna give us a little bit of a break from Mainstream Monday, and then we'll come back with I think Chucky, right?
I think it was Chucky that we talked
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
So we'll do some
Ah.
Chucky and are you a fan of Chucky, Philip?
That it's so funny because I was just thinking a second ago, I was like, if you want to tell or give your viewers a little funny nugget about myself, as much as I have a couple thousand horror movies around me here, there are two franchises, and I wouldn't say I'm not a fan, but I have never seen one Chucky movie, and I've never seen the show. I know, and that's like John's favorite franchise. But I've never seen one of them. Not one of them. I own the box set somewhere. Oh, right here. I have this, but it's still factory sealed.
I feel like
I've
we should make you watch at least one of them and do a
well,
review with us.
well, so this is what I've been doing lately because I get into franchises and I love binging the whole thing. There's another franchise that will shock your world that I've never seen. I've seen the original and I've never seen one of the sequels, not one of the sequels. And there are sequels aplenty. And that would be the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I just was, I mean, the first one is like,
John's
okay,
look on his face.
I'm not the biggest Freddy Krueger fan. And
Um,
so I
I
never
get
pulled
that.
me in.
I get it because like it took me a while for me to become a Nightmare on Elm Street fanatic. Because when I was younger, I uh remember oh my goodness, we're losing you, bro.
Ah,
Uh,
shit. Sorry. Yeah, I don't
uh,
know what's happening.
um,
It's called Karma.
Yeah, I mean, is that what it is? Um, yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
well,
I think while Phil is blacked out there, I think Chucky is the perfect movie series. I think it's the perfect TV show. There is not one bad Chucky movie. As much as people don't like maybe part three as much because it's a different kid. or that they don't like Blood of Chucky. I
Blood of Chucky?
wait, what's the wait? Not
Bride of Chucky.
no,
Bride of
not Bride.
Chucky,
No,
Cult,
what came? No, what came before Bride?
Curse,
Seed of Chucky.
and then
Seed.
nothing.
People
Seed of
don't seem to
Chucky
like
came
Seed of
after.
Chucky.
That
Yeah,
came
so
after
people.
Bride.
Okay, it doesn't matter. The people don't seem to like that, but I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect series. I love the and this is the thing. This annoys the fuck out of me. My post that I did, which was the Selena Gomez joke, I had a couple people go as far as saying he's probably doesn't like trans people. And it's just like, dude, what is my favorite fucking series? It's made by a gay guy, and Chucky has trans kids. The
Yeah.
whole show is gay. Like
Mm.
it's everything about it. Don Mancini is very gay. I mean, he even
You,
has John Waters on the show. So it's like F you, it's like
Hmm.
you can't I can't have a show that I absolutely love and be a foe of something.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it doesn't make sense, you idiots.
Uh-huh.
yeah. You going going to the trans conversation. I was like, oh shit, this took a hard left turn and had no idea where you were going with any of that. As far as the Chucky movie, so like recently, I just because we have a new Final Destination movie coming out, I just watched all five of the Final Destination movies. Turns out I really enjoy that
Wait, wait,
franchise.
wait, wait. You've never seen it before?
I seen the first one, and then until a couple of years ago, I'd never seen any of the sequels. Well, Fluffy was like, "You need to watch at least part five," and part five sucks. It is
I
so
love
bad.
five, you know that.
So
Yeah.
five is absolutely terrible, and I just destroyed it in a rant. Uh, but
Huh.
but anyways, those movies they go in order: one, then two, then three, then four, then five, in order of how good they are. I'm very excited for part six, and so I wanted to watch. So I watched the whole franchise. I'm binging franchises that maybe I've never seen or never given a chance. So if you care for my thoughts on the Chucky movies, that will give me a good reason to pop it open and actually watch them.
What do you think, John? Do you want to invite Philip on some more and have him binge watch Chucky with us? And
I don't know. He's
you
saying
know,
some stuff I disagree with.
well,
Yeah.
thankfully you're
Well,
not
yeah.
like,
I mean, as many as you would like to be on, Philip. That's
Yeah.
yeah, you're more
you
than
know,
welcome.
Well, you
Uh,
guys talk about it, figure it out. I'm probably I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go through and start binging the franchise, and but I'll take notes. I like taking notes so I because I sometimes when you watch a franchise, the movies blend together in your memory.
yeah.
So I'll make some notes and have those and we can talk about them. Uh, if you guys want when that time comes if I'm available, I should be, but I have
You just never know these days. I get it. I mean, there's so John knows about this, but and Philip, you're on my Facebook, so you might know. But I'm working on a romantic comedy this like summer that I'm directing, and I just wrote it. So John doesn't know that I just got it finished and it's registered, so I'm really excited. And but this summer might some of my videos and some of my stuff might get,
yeah,
kind of to the side.
yep,
And even John and I had this discussion because he was the one who told me that I got to put my priorities in check. I've got to figure out, which ones do I want to do the most, and make sure that those go above everything else. And writing and directing and producing, those are my number one. That's what I got into. I didn't get into wanting to do film to be a podcaster. This is nice. I love it. It's fun. It's a hobby. But, just it's weird because Paul calls the filmmaking stuff and the podcast stuff a hobby to him. And the filmmaking stuff is going to be like my career.
yeah.
That's my plan.
I it's funny because I did not start YouTube because of my desire to make films, but I actually, I mean, there's a whole story that we could do another video about of how I got into YouTube. But I did recommit myself to YouTube to broaden the viewership so that when I release a movie, there's a fan base that would
Hmm.
want to, that I could market it through and stuff. So that is definitely part of it. So having the YouTube, getting your face out there and everything, it's only going to help when it comes to if you're doing crowdfunding or, you're distributing your movie. However, having the podcast is going to do nothing but help. So that's part of the reason why I do it too. My first passion, and I would drop everything right now and run out the door to make a movie if I had a chance. And I've done that to help other people, not even for myself. So I just love being on set, love making movies, and I will always take advantage of any opportunity to do that. So I am with you, and hopefully maybe all three of us can get together on a project at some point down the
Maybe
road.
that'd be great. So John knows, like, because we were supposed to do a podcast uh on Sunday, last Sunday, and I got asked to myself and Paul got asked to come up to Buena Vista, Virginia to work on a project with John Johnson, the director of like Plan 9, the Plan 9 remake, and a
Mm.
bunch of other stuff. And I'm good friends with John, and he was just like, "Hey, can you and Paul come up and do your part for the for the movie that we were scheduled to do before but weren't able to do?" I was like, yeah, I can check and see if we're available. So, Paul was available, and he's always down to skip a podcast just to make a movie, right? To be
Yeah,
acting something, because it doesn't happen all
yeah,
the time, like this isn't like it's not going to happen next Sunday. It's not going to happen next Sunday. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so the opportunities to do that, and I think even John, didn't you even say like, yeah, please, you don't mind us skipping this stuff if we're doing, you know, the
No, I
act.
Yeah.
was unpacking, so I actually didn't want to do it, but I committed to
Excuses,
it.
excuses, excuses. We all have them.
I
Oh, I
mean,
mean,
I'm very happy with that. All my stuff is almost put away, so
yeah,
if
that was
if I
good. That was
committed to it, that's fine. But yeah,
well,
no.
and I kind of feel the same way as like, I had my co-host for 80s horror films, Rebecca Reinhardt. I had her on my show on today, and there was a potential that I was going to have to, there was even a potential I was going to have to, say no to this if I had no internet. I can't do the
Mm.
show, right? So there was a potential with no internet with the winter storm. Well, thankfully in Virginia, at least in my area in Virginia, the winter storms last like 5 minutes. They get their stuff done, then they go on to Hampton and Virginia Beach and all the other areas, and they keep going there, and then that's it. But everything else in the whole town just closes down because of snow. Oh, it's snowing tonight. Let's just close,
Wow.
everything down because that's our town. We're lame. But that's we're not east. We're not like north, town. But anyway, point is like it could have happened today, and it didn't. And I'm always prepared for that. But I was also kind of hoping it wouldn't because that's just one less thing I have to do. Even though I'd watched Warlock, which is the movie we reviewed, I'd already watched it, and stuff, and I was ready to do the podcast. I was just like, I used to be mad if somebody cancels. Now I'm just like, all right, if you cancel, you cancel, If you keep canceling on me, there's a problem, But if you cancel
Yeah,
once because something came up that's important, I'm
yeah,
okay with that.
yeah.
And
Stuff happens.
had
Yeah,
John said I had to cancel, for one of the shows because I have to unpack, I would have said that's a little bit more important right now because you got junk to do. But I'm hoping
yeah.
he's ready for what is it? Sunday's haul video that we're doing.
I'm 10 DVDs short.
I am too. I'm 20 DVDs short. I have to go out and buy, which I'll do that on Friday when the roads are a little bit more clearer and everything. But yeah, we
You
we do it.
guys in your haul videos, you have to buy so many movies.
We have sort of an amount.
It's
It's
it's yeah,
me.
20
Uh,
20 DVDs and 5 Blu-ray. And then we
It's
do 10, 10, 10, and then we,
wow,
type of
it's
thing.
that's fun.
me.
That's funny.
I'm very OCD. So you're the OGP and I'm the OCD.
Nice,
So
nice.
right. So I'm very OCD. So I like everything to be uh you know,
And
whatever.
these days, I'm more
Standard, yeah.
GOP.
Yes, apparently. Apparently, which people are shocked
Uh,
about, I feel like people always thought of you not like that. And now
yeah.
everybody's like making a big deal out of it.
Fuck them. Fuck
The
them.
world is a changing place. It really is, and I think a lot of people's eyes are being opened to the other side of things. So and the beauty of it is, I know where I stand, and I know where you guys pretty much stand, with things, but it doesn't matter. And it's funny because, we talk about, everybody always says, oh, you should never lose a friendship over politics. I agree with that. But but is it really a friendship if you have no, if you have nothing in common, or you completely disagree and you argue and fight all the time? No, but that I think the beauty of it is that we could just choose to ignore those things, our different beliefs, and still kind of celebrate what we do have in common or what we enjoy. And for scenarios like this, we all love movies.
Right.
So if somebody holds it against us, that we view one way or another, then that's unfortunate.
Well, I got unfriended by a guy. I'm not gonna say who, but it's a filmmaker, and I got unfriended by the person because I stuck up for ASMR, which he did not like apparently and stuff. So I said, how can you say you
Uh,
don't like something when you never even really watched it or paid attention to it? And that was my thing. All of a sudden, unfriend, and
wow,
this is a person I've known since like
Wait, what
2009.
was it for?
ASMR.
that's
You
hilarious.
never heard of,
That's
right?
I have no
Uh,
idea what that is.
It's when you talk really low and then like people can hear your gums smacking,
Oh, that thing.
that type of
Okay.
stuff
but
right there.
I,
Yeah.
but in 2020, I was listening to a lot of it, usually hot girls, doing it or
that's
whatever,
what
and
everybody
it
listens to.
and it put me to sleep. And I've always been a big fan of it. But when the dude
Little
was like,
girl.
blah 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 blah, right? I just was, I had to say something, and it was really funny because one of my friends, Ashy, Slashy, that's her name on the thing. I'll call her out. She was, saying the stuff against it too, and she unfriended that person, right? And
Who gives a fuck? It's
Wow.
such a
Right.
stupid
Yeah.
thing.
well,
Yeah.
it's some people really are passionate about it.
Who
I
cares?
Well, who cares if you are a political, or who cares if whatever? Nothing ever really matters.
But do
What
you
you
really need to unfriend somebody because they don't like whispering?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It,
it's look, I'll say this for that Selena Gomez joke that I did. Fuck everybody who was on there. If you unfriended me, if you blocked me, if you called me a Nazi, if you called me a Trump supporter, if you sat there and said, now we know your true colors, you can go fuck yourself because I am never supporting anything you ever do again. And a lot of these people were on one filmmaker once or twice. A lot of them I've actually worked with or done interviews with them, like they've interviewed me. And you can go F yourself. I don't care because I'm not that way. And it was a stupid joke. And for people to say that, they go, oh, well, you probably voted for Trump. I didn't vote for anybody. And if I did, who cares? It's like, no, you can go F yourself. I'm not supporting posters. I'm not supporting trailers. I'm not supporting crowdfunding. I'm not supporting any of this stuff. So if anybody ever tries to come back and friend request me, oh no, oh no, you could go fuck a meat cleaver as far as I'm concerned. And if you're one of the people who told me I should go apologize, fuck you. And if you're somebody who went to a friend of mine and said, I'm not going to, unfriend him, no, fuck you too. So it's like, no,
what if
no.
I don't want to fuck a meat cleaver? Can I fuck a cheese grater instead?
Only if you rub it against your crotch, like
Okay.
50 miles an hour. So yeah, so no, that's
It's so funny. I'm trying to find the video, but I can't find it because I just have so many videos on my channel. But there was a Dollar Tree video, like a Dollar Tree movie hunting video, because I would walk into the Dollar Trees and I would always whisper because I was trying to talk about the movies that I was looking through. And so then I was like, fuck it, we're going ASMR Dollar Tree movie hunting. And it got like 5,000 views. The people fucking loved it. It was hysterical.
well, and
So
because people are looking up ASMR and they come across your thing, and it is very popular. So whatever, I don't care. I'm just saying,
Weirdos.
all I told the guy was that like why would you, you know, like say negative things about something you don't actually,
Yeah.
participate in or whatever or have anything to do with. And he unfriended me. And then my friend was like, "Well, I unfriended him because because he was an asshole,
Yeah.
about it. He was just,
I, the whole idea of if you would say like if I would say like what for example people that are anti-abortion don't support women's rights, and if
mm,
people got mad at me about that because that's a life and death matter, or if I said I don't like people who have abortions because you're slaughtering babies, to me, that's a life or death matter, that's a real thing. To get mad at ASMR, are you fucking kidding me? You
yeah.
could say I
Well,
don't
I
like
think
it. You can make jokes about it. To really get mad enough to unfriend somebody, that
well,
is hysterical in itself.
here comes the thing. Like, there's another guy that blocked me, and he blocked me because he would get really mean at me, like really nasty, right? And say these things, and it's usually like him just being a dick, right? About whatever he disagreed with on my comments. So then one day I became a dick back to him, and then all of a sudden I'm blocked, and I'm like, I didn't even do that to you, douche,
Yeah,
So I'm like, I just
No,
hate
that
this shit.
is.
these people are idiots. Around the time that Birdman came out years ago, there was that thing floating around that we filled out that said, like, what is your favorite film? What is your least favorite film? What is the most overrated film? And it was this long list of stuff. Yeah, like, what zombie film have you not seen? Something like that. It was this long list that people were doing. And I put overrated was Birdman. And this director, this Roger Corman director, the guy who did The Terror Within, yelled at me and unfriended me because I thought Birdman was overrated.
Yeah,
Really?
like,
You didn't even make it. You're a Roger
Yeah,
Corman director. What are you
yeah.
talking about?
I think
that's
people
why.
people take things way too fucking seriously on the internet. I will not unfriend somebody at all myself unless they like there was only one guy and I think I blocked him, and that was just because he was trying to tell me like what to say and do. Like he was like, these people are saying these things about you. You should do this. And I'm like, fuck off. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I
Yeah,
kind of told him that, and then he kept bothering me about it. So I was like, block. I don't want to hear that shit. Like it's just annoying,
yeah, yeah,
and stuff. I don't like hearing people telling me how I should live my life. Like if you don't like me as a friend, you can unfriend me. It's just
yeah,
really funny when people unfriend me for like ridiculous things.
yeah. I'm not one to volunteer my opinions or my thoughts unless I'm provoked. And so when you get people telling you that either you're wrong for doing this or believing this, or you hear people saying anybody who supports this person is a Nazi, or anybody who supports this person is a communist or whatever, at that point it's like I don't choose to be an asshole, but I just choose to be blunt and honest. And if people have a problem with that, then it's unfortunate, but I just
Oh,
I wish we could all just get along. Can't we all just get along?
I
That,
mean,
that it's never going to
it's not
happen.
it's not going to happen
But
anytime
but
soon, and I don't
yeah,
think it ever will.
yeah,
And a lot of it's because of the internet, because we
yeah,
have this bubble inside ourselves that we think, we don't
Oh,
need
fuck.
because remember before Facebook and everything and before all of this stuff, we just kind of lived our life and we did, we were friends with whoever we wanted to be, and if they pissed
yep,
us off, we are like, I'm sorry. Like I remember because of my drinking, there was a guy who got me to start drinking. He was the guy who gave me
mhm,
my first spiked, alcohol, or
uh,
whatever, kind of, created the monster. Then the monster got unleashed and attacked him, and he was like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And you know
uh,
what? He didn't have to like, whatever. All he had to do was stop answering my calls. And that was the real life blocking, or
yeah.
whatever,
Well, and
and
that's
stuff.
and that's
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. gotta go to the bathroom really bad.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up.
I'm dying.
Okay. We'll wrap it up and we'll talk about all this stuff later on another episode. So thank you guys so much for coming on and chatting with us and everything. And Philip, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Philip.
And join us in a couple months where we'll be back for another brand new Mainstream Monday with Chucky. So until then, everybody, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.